Hey everybody, welcome back to another drawing tutorial. So today I'm going to be doing a Momoshiki from Boruto. So it's his final form with the third eye, the eyes on his hands. It's from the cover, I think, of one of the Boruto mangas. So he's a kind of awkward guy to draw. So I've gone, on for a YouTube tutorial anyway. It's kind of difficult. So I've gone to the landscape page, and he's got sort of his hands coming from the side of his face and these horns coming out here. So we will start with his right eye. So we'll do the right eyelid just here. So we're pretty much bang middle, just along here, center of the page, and we're starting just here with the top of his right eyelid, just coming across like so, and it kind of sticks up at the end, sort of a little flick up near the end of it. And then we have his bottom eyelid, so quite slender eyes, so it comes around here, and then we're going to curve it down like so, and then it's going to come back up this side. We're going to bring it up now this way. In there then we have his iris and his pupil. So he's got golden eyes, and I think the pupil is golden as well from what I can see here. So might be different in the anime, but in the manga anyway, this is how it's colored. So we'll go with that. So we're gonna go boom. So you can't see that full iris circle. You can only see these two lines of it. So the top is covered by an eyelid and the bottom is covered by an eyelid. And then his pupil is depicted like this. So it's not like a full circle. It's like one line that way and another line like that. And then we actually have a line just in here, just for his tear duct. So above that then we have just a frown line, just sort of a tick above his eyebrow, just coming across here, like so. And maybe another one just kind of just in here, just underneath that eye there for his bottom eyelid. Just there. So now we can come over and do the other eye. So his eyes are quite long, so they're closer together than eye distance, right? So it's like a normal human eye. If you measured maybe his iris. So if you took his iris size and then came over, it's just like a little bit longer than that. It's not his eye distance between them. Usually in facial proportion, it's an eye distance between the eyes, but because his eyes are so big, it happens sometimes in anime, the eyes are closer than eye distance. So start that one there, and then this is going to come across, and when we get to the end, it sort of flicks up a little bit as well. So it's going to go like there. And don't worry if both those eyes are not exactly the same, it'll still work. If you want, you can thicken up maybe his eyelid lines. Now, so then his bottom eyelid just comes down underneath, like so. And then comes in towards his tear ducts, just here. And then we have a line for his tear duct inside there, and then his iris and his pupil as well. So we have similar sort of line coming down here. And then another one just here. And this line actually has an extra sort of eyelid line coming across here. I don't know if it's supposed to be a tear or the bottom of his eyelid in the picture I'm drawn from, but we'll put it in anyway. It's not on this eye for some reason. And then we have pupil, done the same way as over there. And then he's a frown line. Coming up and over, around into here again. And then this one travels up the middle of his forehead, like so. And we have something similar on this side, except that they don't join together here. And then we have some fold lines in the middle of his nose there. And then of course we have his third eye just in here. So the top and bottom are here. And then we're going to go around like so. And of course this is the Rennigan inside, so it's circles, just circles going around. So starting in the middle, small, get slightly larger as we go out. Don't worry if they're not perfect circles, people will still get the idea. And then as we go out, they get sort of bigger. You can only see a little bit of them. Like so. And a bit more of that frown line comes up there. And there's side of his head just here beside his eyes. And another one just here. So he's got sort of a big frown brow sort of section just here on both sides. They're not identical, but you can make them even if you wanted. But they're not identical in the picture I'm drawn from, so I guess it makes things easier. So then he has nostrils. Just down here, his face is in pretty much proportion, so the nostrils usually would be just here on the inside of the nose. So one there and one on the other side, just here. So his mouth is slightly open, we could see some teeth inside. So we'll do the middle line first. So starting just underneath the eye here, just down here. And it ends on the inside of the eye here. So that's where mouths usually end up. Like so. About there, it doesn't have to be always there. And then, that's the thing about art, it's not an exact science. So we go up. Bring it down, like so. Then it comes back up and down to the other side. So that's the line just for the top lip. And then the bottom lip comes down from that, so it curves down, like so. So we're just drawing an opening. And then this comes down and up like that there as well. Then we can see just a line for the top lip just here, like that. And then the bottom lip down here. Bottom lips are usually bigger than the top lips. And then we can see just some lines for sort of teeth inside there. So you do a line across, like so. Maybe a little one on the other side as well. And some lines up and down. Just adding some detail like that. Then his chin is just down here. And usually with facial proportions, you can check and see if everything's in the right place once you have 1, 2, 3, these 4 features in a line. So the nose is usually halfway between the eyes and the chin, approximately. Doesn't have to be exact, just got to look about halfway. And then the mouth is usually halfway between the nose and the chin. The bottom lip, really, it doesn't have to be the center. So you can check and make sure and move things around now. If you're doing it, I would suggest a pencil. So then, when you're sure everything's in the right place, we'll go up the side, like so, starting his jaw. And then we're going to change direction when we hit his jawbone, the corner of his jaw, just here. We're going to go up. All the way up past his eye now, just there. And then we'll do pretty much the same on the other side, except it stops at his ear on this side. So we go up, diagonal, and then it goes, changes direction, goes up, and it stops at his ear this time on this side. So it stops here at his ear, but we will put his hair in. So we'll leave a gap and start with his hairline, sort of his sideburn here. Comes up around here. And we have something pretty similar on this side. So we have some zigzag lines just there for a sideburn. And then his hairline starts to come in around that third eye of his. So we're going to do a line in, another one. Then we go diagonal back. This is hair growing out of his head, like so. If I go too fast, just hit that pause button. It'll help you out a great deal. And then the hair starts going in towards the third eye, just here into the center. So we have a line going back that way, back in there. Another one back to the middle. Up here, and of course this hair grows all the way back there, but we'll do that in a few minutes when we get the hands done. I think I'm gonna do the hands first. We'll do a line here. This one goes back this way. Then we have some zigzags for hairlines. Back this way, back down, coming across like so. And then when we get to here, we're going to travel down to that sideburn. Like that. So then he has those marks on his face, all those tattoos, or well, they look like tattoos. It's probably chakra or something like that. So we will do those across his face. So starting from the bottom of his sideburn here, we'll go down, bring this back up. So go down under his eye. Then these go vertical. This comes across, goes back up, like so. Across then, following under his eye, come down, longer one, like so. Next one under his eye, back down here. This comes up in closer to his eye now, and then it's going to come down across his nose. So this one's going to go this way. Down to his nose here. And then we're going to bring it back up. And we're going to go in towards his eye. Starting to go underneath it, pretty similar to this one. Rectangles, across like so. Then we go down, back go up, down, just like this. And this one comes further down his face now, this side. Like so. And of course, all in there is black in the manga, or in the anime it can be dark grey. So I'll leave that up to you, whatever way you want to colour it. Right, so his hands. So they're sort of real close on his face, sort of holding his face, it looks like. So we have his thumbs down around his chin, and then his little fingers are up here, and he's got long nails on them. So I guess we'll do the thumb and the little finger first when we do each hand. So we'll start up here with the little finger. So curve it. They're quite long fingers anyway. So this one curves here. And then it has a sharp nail on the top, just here. Sharp pointy nail. Like so. Now this is going to come down. It's going to go down towards his wrist and then his arm and off the page. Okay? So let's just do that. So we can bump for knuckles. So this can come down and then it can go back up. You don't have to be too exact with it. So go back down to there. Opposite side of the finger then. This curves in. Another bump here for these folds, these skin folds just there. And then the next one comes to there. Maybe a little line, one or two just here. You can bring down this nail a bit further. And then this finger touches his hand, so it like comes into his hand here. So it's like he's turned his this way. So it comes into his hand on this side. Like so. This curves down like that to his hand. And then this is going to come down to his wrist all the way. So it's going to go back of his hand like so. And then it bumps out for his wrist bone and then comes all the way off my page there. So it goes out towards his elbow that way. So now we have a line for the palm of his hand. It's like these lines in here, hand lines, just here. And then the bottom of his hand starts just underneath that line. So it's going to come back up towards his thumb. Like that. And then the thumb goes in under his chin, just up here. So this is going to come up to here. And then it's going to go in underneath his chin. And it's going to come back out the other side. So it's going to come back out to here, curving out for the underside of that thumb. And then it's going to curve in, up into the palm of his hand. Some lines for skin just here, like so. Then the bottom of his hand is going to come down and off the page here. So it's going to go all the way off. So you can see the hand sort of taking shape now. And this hand is pretty much the same as this one. His fingers are slightly a little bit differently pointed, I guess, but pretty much the same idea. And then he's his eyes in on top of that hand in the middle there as well. So so his index finger is going in behind his ear. So we're going to have a bump for his hand just here. Another bump for the top of that where it goes into the finger. And then this is going to go in behind his head. And now we're going to draw in his ear because his fingers are behind his ear. So his ear is just in here. Goes up behind that finger. And there's some bones and ligaments in there. Then we have finger just coming back that way. Can be a bit bumpy, doesn't have to be a straight line. It's probably even better if it's a bumpy line. It'll look more realistic. And then we have a line where it joins the next finger, and this finger comes up behind there. And his last finger goes behind his hair at the top. So we have a line coming from the fingernail here, and then this bumps down like so, and goes into the hand like that. And maybe a line for skin just in there as well. So his eye that's on his hand is just here, so it's like curves down from there and curves back in. Then we have a skin hand line there, and then the Rennigan is just in this as well. So there's skinny circles because it's facing that way. So the circles are flattened, they're not sort of round circles. And then the next one comes out from there, and then you can see less and less as you go out. Like so. So hands are tricky, guys, I know, so you need to really take your time with that. Alright, so his other hand, pretty much similar sort of setup. We start over here with his index. So we'll curve it around like this, right across from it. And then he has that fingernail that comes up, so pointy fingernail. The other side like so. Right, so this is going to bump then down like so, diagonal, and it stops just across from where his nose is, just here, stops about here. So that's how far you want to go down with this finger. And then the other side just comes down like this, bump to a knuckle here, just like this one. And then we're going to bring it down to his wrist. So the back of his hand, and then his wrist. It's this bone here. And then this, of course, comes down and off the page like so. So then the bottom of his hand is just down, just around underneath where this one was. So we can draw in some extra. So we'll draw in some skin lines just there. Another one like so. This hand seems like it's a bit more turned towards us, so we can actually see a bit more of the Rennigan in this one, and the hand is just starts down here. It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit lower. It's pretty close, but it just a curve line just down here, like kind of like this one, and then this comes into his thumb, just there. We can see his thumbnail on this one, so that comes up here. That's pointy in there, and we have the top of the thumb. Comes out like so. Then this is going to come back into the palm of his hand. So we're going to bring it into here, and then sort of down. Add some skin lines. Like so. And then we'll do these fingers that are in here. So, bump here, skin bump here. So it's like these bumps just in here. And then his index, like this one, it's going to bump up, and into there. Goes behind his head, comes back the other side, like so. A bend for knuckles, like that. So that's like a bump for his knuckle on his index finger. Then we have skin line. This comes up. And this goes in behind his ear, just there. So his ear, just like this one, goes down and back into his head. And then we have some lines just for bones and ligaments inside his ear, like so. And that's just a line for some of his hair just in there as well. So we can see some of his other finger just a tiny bit just here. There's like a line for his finger just in there. Maybe a knuckle line there. And then come down like that. And then we can see the back of his other finger just here, just the knuckle that comes up and down. And it goes in behind his finger here as well. And then of course the Rinnegan is on his hand, is in here, so we can see a bit more of it than this one. So we'll do a bigger line, just like this, and that. And then with the circles inside. And then we can only see the edges of these ones just here, like so. Okay, we're getting there. Right, this arm goes off the page this way. And then we have some hand lines, just folds for his skin on his hand, like that. Maybe one there. And then his wrist bone, just there. Folds for the underneath of his thumb bone, just there. And then he has those tattoos on his arm as well. So we have a box coming off there, goes down off my page, comes back in a spike, comes back up in a long box-like shape. And then there's a couple of small boxes of that stuff as well, just here. And one more here. This stuff probably changes depending on how you're drawing them as well. Another one just here. Like so, and more on this side as well. So, pretty long ones on this hand. So we got a long one here. One here. Diagonal down towards the corner, following his arm. This goes up over there. To here. This one goes off the page. One on the edge of his arm. And then the box ones. Okay, so now it's like two hands holding a floating head. So we've got to give him a body and some hair. So, right, so we can see his neck just coming down from his jaw, going behind his hand to his shoulder that comes out the other side. So we'll do that first. So we can see a curved line for his neck just there. Curved line for his neck on the other side, just in there. These travel behind his arm and come out for his shoulder on the other side, like so. And he's got some clothing on, so these hang down his body just like so, like this, with some fold lines on them as well. Over here too we can see some of his shoulder just here, and then some of his clothing, costume, that sort of robe that he wears. And it has some bumps and lines for clothes on it like that. And these keep going under his arm and go down his body. So one there, another fold line maybe there. And we can see another one coming down from underneath his hand. So it comes from underneath his hand and then goes down off the page. There. And this has a fold line inside there as well. Another little section. You can add some hatching. And then another one coming down from this side. And then down here, down here. So then in between here we can just see his collarbone. So we have a line coming across here and down. Another one coming across here and down. We can see some more of that collarbone on this side in between his fingers. And then some lines underneath just to show the bottom of that collarbone on both sides. Like so. And then we can see his arm, his muscles, sort of his armpit and sort of bicep just in here. So this comes up under there, and then his bicep goes off that way, and then his body is in there. And this hits a piece of clothes as well, this that comes down. This piece of clothing travels behind his arm and all the way down. Same over here, pretty much. So we have a line for his chest muscle that comes down this way, and then his armpit and bicep that go off that way, and then a small line for where it joins his body just about there. Now then, he has those black marks on his body as well. It's all dark black or dark grey inside here, but there's white all in here and black as well. So coming down the front of his chest, we have, say, one just here, another one beside it, another one here, another one a bit higher up, and then these go up towards his neck. So this one is a double, this one goes up that way. So these come down off the page. So of course, if you have more room, you could fit more of this character in. It's from the cover of the Boruto manga. If you want to check it out and see if you can add more to this, change it, feel free. It's your drawing, remember that. Yours will probably look different to mine, and that's totally normal. Everyone draws differently. Don't worry about stuff like that. Just do your best. So we're adding more of these lines now coming down. It's all about practice. Even if it's bad. I do loads of bad drawings. All the time. That never goes away. Just gotta keep going. Right, so then there's some lines on his neck, just here. Coming under his chin, these little boxes coming down his neck. Here. Coming up this side. And yeah, so they're all dark black inside. And now his hair. So I couldn't fit it all in because it's so long. But basically, it goes all wavy, just with all these wavy lines coming out from his hair, right? So I guess we'll just start. So we'll start at the bottom. We'll start where his hands. We'll start at the bottom. So he's a wavy line coming out here, and work our way up. Another one beside it there. Another hairline inside. This will probably be a long video. Sorry about that, but he's a complicated character to draw. So, because there's a lot to him, and it's difficult to find a standard sort of picture of him. Right, so more hairlines coming up and in, like this, going in towards his head. We've some more lines here, more lines coming off this way, the long one going up this way. Line coming back here. Of course, the anime way of drawing him is much simpler than the manga, which is always the way. Well, not always the way, usually. More hairlines in here. Big one here. Going down this way off the page. Coming into here. Down. Some hairlines in between that. Another line just coming from the tippy top of his finger there. You can see a little bit of his ear actually back here. Never noticed that. And then another hairline from there. Another hairline going out this way. So, sorry about the time skip, but my camera memory filled up and I didn't know and I kept drawing. And I'm after drawing all this hair without it being recorded. So, yay, go me. But basically, I got in just he's a bit of an ear here and his ear in there. I can't remember if I showed you that bit. But all the hairlines going this direction. So we got all them in. And his horn, this is his black section of his horn, so I'll colour that in while I'm here, just so you can see that a bit better. Sorry about that malfunction, technical difficulties. I didn't hear the beep when it filled up. I was probably talking. So this is where his horn is, goes off that way. And then we have, so his hair still traveling this way a bit. When we get to the middle here, the hair is going to go all this way. All these lines going up here. And then his other dark black horn is here. So that's the dark section of his horn just in here. And then these hairlines go all off this way. So don't worry if they're not exactly like mine. But it's kind of grey, blue sections that come off and go off the page. They all float out that way. You can add loads of hairlines, less hairlines. It's totally up to you how much texture you want to give it. But yeah, there he is, Momoshiki. Tricky one to draw. Let me know if you'd like to see a simpler one. I'll have to sort of hunt the internet for a bit of a simpler image of him. I did see some easier ones, but they didn't really look as good. But might have to maybe make one up myself. I don't know. But there he is anyway. Momoshiki. That's his final form. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.